Hello, everybody. Good morning. It's Friday morning, and this is Connie, and I'm live. And I'm just getting my camera set up here. So sometimes that takes me a moment to do. Anyway, I am here. I'm live. I gotta be honest, my mojo is low today. I'm tired. I've had so much going on this week or two. Oh my God. So I decided, I'm gonna make a real simple card today. I've got some paper I need to use up. I wanna make a real simple split front card. And the paper I wanna use is Friends of the Ocean, because I was looking through, okay, ready for this? I was looking through my paper and what I have left to use up that I don't want to store. And one of the paper packs is this bright and beautiful Friends of the Ocean. Good morning, Christy. I really love this paper. I absolutely love it. And with all of the other projects that I've been working on, this one just hasn't, I just haven't been grabbing this paper. And so what I want to do, let me get this stuff out from under here. I want to show you what I've done with the paper so far. So I did a little stash buster with these, and I made several generic layouts. I just, basically made layouts that are not too themed. This is the most themed one because it actually does have the sea critters on it. And I have the die cuts from the, what's the name? Seashell pack. Dang, I can't remember my names. But, this is just a very simple, generic type of layout, color blocked using my favorite papers from the pack. And then I did this one, which you've seen me use this kind of template many times, basically just strips of cardstock and pattern paper alternating in the background, just strips. And then, arrangement of photos. This could be any theme. I used some of that mushroom paper that was in the Celebration special. That's the back of it, that stripe. And I just thought, this is a great kind of a generic layout. I can decorate it later. I can use it for anything. I can cover up the mushrooms if I end up not wanting them on there. Just some basic stash busting layouts. This one I added cardstock. You can see my photo mat I just tacked in place. It's not really even attached. I could just pop it off really easy to rearrange anything I wanted to. I really like the seashells on this, and I think they look very celebratory kind of. I think any summer layout would look really nice on this color scheme. And I'm kind of, there's no decoration, no ephemera, no stickers, no tags, no dies, no stamping. I just cut paper up and used it onto this layout to make like a naked layout, meaning nothing but paper. And I just love all the papers in this pack. There is no way that I was going to put this pack into storage. I know for a fact I will never get it out because I fall in love with the new paper packs over and over. And then I just keep these in storage forever. It's just, it's a shame. And so here I am. So I made like 4 2-page layouts. I would rather have the naked layouts where in my storage where I can just pull them out, right? Okay, so these are the papers I have left. And they're all great. These are the backs. And I'm showing you the backs because to me they're, non-themed, just generic pattern, right? They're just, but they're bold. They're very bold. Now, these would go well with anything you've got, you know, yellows, blues, you know, those turquoise blues, the limey greens, the, you know, any summer colors this would go really nice with. So I could put these in my stash into my mix-in pile, where every now and then you just need a pop of color and you can just pull that out. On the back, these are the patterns. Sea critters. There's a bunch of lobster and crabs. I love this ombre style one with a slight pattern in it. More sea critters, the starfish, and then of course this overall background. So I could make a bunch of summer cards. As a matter of fact, I have the stamps and dies to be able to, I could use this one sheet here and even just die cut all of these crab and lobster out and use those on a page. I mean, why not? But today I really thought I want to make something using the more generic color. So, our pattern. So that's my plan. And I'm telling you, whenever my mojo is a little bit low, I get into my templates and I pull one out, and I thought, well, a split card, a split front is a pretty easy card to make. And so that's what I'm going to do today. So basically the base is 4 1/4 by 11, and you score it in half. Okay. So I grabbed a 4 1/4 by 11, and I did score that in half. And when you fold with the bump in the middle, like bury the bump. And I'm just going to go ahead and fold that now, just like that. Pretty simple. It's a top folding card, essentially. I suppose you could do it sideways, but I'm doing it portrait style. Okay, then the rest of the directions cut at 1/2 inch and 7 inches. And then I have some sizing to cut pattern paper for decorative panels, right? And so here's your screenshot moment if you need that. And I'm basically just gonna make this real simple card. So by cutting it, I'm lazy. I didn't want to get out my trimmer today. By cutting it at like 1 1/2 here, and then, 1 1/2 from the fold. That's this, like a 7 inch mark, I think. 7. Then what you get is this. So you end up with cutting the center piece out. And on this, what I did was I took the center piece and I flipped it and just used it to connect those pieces together. So the piece that is left over in here, I turned, flipped, and put on here. Now in this card, I'm going to do something a little bit different because I really want this to, I want to use some of the products that I haven't had a chance to really use yet. I feel like the catalog is ending soon, and I'm really sad I haven't even used some things. So the first thing is, I can't believe I'm saying it, but I want to use a floral. And so I decided to use Flowers of Beauty. This is a set that I really, really like, but I have multiple sets similar, and I bought a new set in the catalog that I like even a little more. So whenever I do that, whenever I find a set that I know I'm always going to grab over another, that's my hint that it's time to use this, say goodbye, get rid of the ones that I'll never grab for again. I don't need them hot, you know, just in my stash forever. And so this one I'll probably end up getting rid of, even though I've gotten a lot of use out of it. The dies on it are amazing. I love all these little bitty flowers on here because you can just cut these out and you just have gobs of little flowers for your pages and stuff. So yeah, see, I'm talking myself into it again. But I just know I probably won't grab it over some of my others. So anyway, I'm using that. The other thing that I haven't shown very much, but I've been using in the background a little bit on my own, is this arch set, Everyday Arches. I store it in the pocket with my circles. And so I've shown some rainbow cards. I've done some different things with it, but today I'm going to use it as my connector. And so I went ahead and cut a couple of different sizes of arches out of the white cardstock, and that's going to be what I use as my connector piece. And it doesn't matter, you know, which one I use. So that's why I cut a couple of sizes out of my scrap paper. I'm not sure which I'm going to use yet. Now this one I've never even used. I've never even opened it to use it, and it's terrible. This one was in the January through April mini. It's called Everyday Arches, and it has these messages that follow these arches, and I really liked the messages. Now I will store these with my sunshine and stars stamps because I love this "You Are a Ray of Sunshine" and "Reach for the Stars." I love the little stars in this set. If I keep this in my messages, I may forget that I have it, but I definitely, if I put it in a grouping where I know I'm going to use it all the time, I will use it. I will grab it. So today, I want to use, let me get a giant block here. I want to use You Are Simply Fantastic, and I want to use You Are a Ray of Sunshine. So now when you have new photopolymer stamps, and I've never used these before, so they are definitely new, you need to get some of the manufacturing product off of them. They have like a release agent on them that sometimes it'll keep the ink from being nice and smooth. It'll be like bubbling up on there. So that's when you see people talk about seasoning stamps or cleaning stamps before you use them, that's why. And I'm just going to let this kind of fall naturally onto my surface. And then there's different ways you can do this. Now you can use your hands and fingers and scrub them, and it helps get that oil off. Sometimes I use my rub and remove eraser just to go over the top, and that helps get some of those manufacturing oils off. And then sometimes I'll just stamp it, ink it, stamp it, ink it, stamp it, and do that over and over, and eventually that just kind of works its way off. Now I think if I, yeah, this will be perfect for here. I'm trying to decide what color I want to use because my card is going to be so bold, and so I could use black, but black is harsh. Let me see. So I think I'm going to use gray. I'm going to use a gray color. I really like the Stampin' Up. Let me see. I really like the Stampin' Up Basic Gray. I have a stamp spot for it, and I used my friend's, she let me borrow her Stampin' Up ink pads because, you know, I don't have them all yet. And I used hers, and I was like, oh, that's a great color. So I'm like, it's time to break open my ink. And so I'm just going to ink this up. And what you'll see when you do that is when you look at the ink on your stamp, like you can kind of see, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera, but it is bubbly a little bit on those letters. And to me, that means it's just a new, it is a very new stamp. And so I probably should stamp it onto some, I don't know, scratch paper or something, just to make sure it's going to stamp fine. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Okay, so I'm good. So I'm going to ink it up again. Sorry for the delay. I kind of like that darker color, but not quite so dark as black. I'm even tempted to go one softer, but you are simply fantastic is a great message. All right, I'm going to just line that up and press. That's a big block. Sheesh. Okay, I really like how that looks. That's awesome. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna make two. I might try it with a softer gray. Let me see what I got. This one, I've used a ton. It's gray granite. It may be too soft. We'll see. When you see the boldness of this card and how crazy the colors are in it, you will realize that it needs something. And oh yeah, that's nice too. I like that. It has more of a brown gray tone. Okay, so you're simply fantastic. There's those. Now the other one I really want to use, let me clean this off. I really want to use the sunshine one on this one. And so I don't need quite such a big block, I don't think. Jeez, that block is huge. And it does help to use a smaller block. Not quite so. Okay, see, it's new. Be really careful when you're peeling these clear stamps off, especially that first time and they're really stuck. You don't want to rip them. And this one says your array of sunshine. And I'm just going to lay that on there. Kind of let it fall. And then pick it up. Wipe it off. I'm gonna try it out. Yep, it looks really straight, looks good. And I think on this one, I may use, do I want a bold? I could do a really bold color like the crazy pinks or whatever, but I think I am gonna do more of these grays while I have them out. I didn't season this. We'll see how it looks. Sometimes if I hurry, the new ink doesn't have time to like bead up or whatever it does. I don't know why it does that. As far as, look at that, pretty. I just really like that. I don't know. All right, I'm gonna use the softer brown gray too. All right, I think that's all my stamping I'm doing today because I went ahead and pre-stamped images so that my other thought, I really like the hello in this. I send a lot of cards that say hello, and the hello in this set is a good one. It's the right size. It's a great font. That's not always true. Sometimes the hello is too small, in my opinion, to be the feature of the front of a card. I need it to be big enough so that it's almost like a feature, right? Okay. let's talk about what we're going to put on the card. So, I just wanted to show you the ones that I used. And I was considering making the outside cardstock and then the inside white, and I may still do that. That's why I kind of held it out. So I'm gonna put those aside because I don't know how I feel about that right now. I colored one butterfly already in pink. I thought that was a really neat thing. So let's take this card that's already cut. Now I got out my papers, and I like the idea of the inside of the card being one of those bold colors. And if you do that, when you put your front on, that will peek through. And I thought, oh, that's really cool looking. Or I could make the inside white and just put the bold color, you know, on the top and bottom. These are like 1 1/4 by 4. These little patterns like this. And so if I do that, this will show a little bit. And so, and it kind of makes your arch not show as well. So you can see the arch kind of blends into the background, and I want it to be in your face. So it's nice to have a little pattern or some ink on the back so that it will really pop, right? I am going to go ahead and adhere this because it's driving me crazy shuffling this around. So I'm going to use pink, and I'm going to put this here. And put this one here. Hi, Stephanie. I don't know why I've been thinking about you a lot lately, Steph. I think it's because I haven't heard from you for a little while. All right, so there's that. I really like how this looks. And, you know, that's a pretty simple card. You could just put something on it and call it done, a few gems. But, of course, nothing I do is all that simple, right? I just don't do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put adhesive at the bottom and adhesive at the top. And I'm going to line this up. Now, if it helps you to put this in the corner of a scoreboard, or you're cut it, you know, if it helps you to do that, you can. Sometimes I will line it up on the bottom, you know, and kind of hold it into place for a moment and have the bottom set, right? And then lay the bottom where it goes, line it up perfectly. That's the hardest part, honestly, of this card, is to make the bottom line up. And then the top will just glue into place. I like liquid glue because you can wiggle it around. You can make sure that everything fits. And then check the inside, make sure there's no glue seepage on your seams. Ta-da! I love these. These split cards like this are just so cool. Now, the other thing that I did, in addition to the butterflies, of course, is I pre-stamped a bunch of those flowers. I did some in this kind of, you know, pretty in pink, peach colored, because I thought that looked really nice with this. But I decided to go with pink. And the other thing I cut out was some of the other smaller flowers in the collection. And you know, the way this is supposed to work is you cut out your greenery, and then these like pop onto the different you know, like a hollyhock, like a hollyhock. Sorry, I had to try to think of, but I just wanted the greenery. And so I am going to go ahead and put some greenery down. Now, this will a lot be covered up, so not too worried about it, how it shows or whatever. I just needed another pop of color in there. I didn't want it totally monochromatic. And then I have, let's see, I have some ones that I just stamped with white, and some I did two-step where, you know, you stamp off and then stamp the shadow. This stamp set's really nice because it has a a shadow layer and an outline layer, and I was like, this'll be great. I'll be able to layer my flowers on there. And of course I could just put a butterfly on. Again, it's a great card just like that, but I have more plans. All right, so I want to show you how I colored the butterfly. I get questions about that all the time. And so I like the Spectrum Noir markers because I don't have to guess or think about what color, you know, like the different shades of color. And I'm using the magenta blend, and there's light, medium, and dark on these markers. And I don't know what's going on with these markers, but they're starting to get to be like not available in places. I am starting at the darkest part, which is by the butterfly body. Let me see if I can zoom in. So I'm starting at the darkest part, which is the butterfly body, and I'm flicking like that. And that is the, how I'm doing the darkest color. And you might notice I'm not paying any attention to the actual lines on the butterfly. Because I just want it to go from a graduated color, like almost like an ombre, right? So the medium color, now I'm gonna start in the darkest color, and I'm gonna flick the medium color, and I'm coloring more surface on this one. And what this will do is it'll blend that darker color into the medium color. Flick, flick, flick. If you have a harsh line, like if you look at that and you go, ooh, that's like a very harsh line, go over it another time and the alcohol in the marker will like smooth it out. All right, and then the last one, I'm gonna start at the edge in the lightest color, okay? And I'm gonna go towards that medium color and kind of blend that together. See, I'm starting light. If I start into the medium color and go towards the edge, I may end up with a darker color at the edge than I want. So here I am outlining, and now I'm going towards that medium color. Like that. And then the body, I just chose a gray. This is like ice gray, and I'm just going to choose the lightest color and color it in. It would be, if you have the Stampin' Up blends or markers, you could just pick the same color that coordinates with the ink that you used. And see, 2 butterflies looks great. Now, when I do butterflies, I always fold them at their wings. I kind of give them a little poof, a little curve on the wings. Even if you don't use foam or anything, doing this will give that cardstock a little bit of dimension. So this is like something you should do to your flowers and your, see how that looks? That's a great card, just like that. All right, I'm gonna zoom back out just a little so you can see what I'm doing. All right, So just like that, that's a great card. I could stop, but you know, I'm Connie. I don't do that. So I'm going to take some of these other flowers, and I also went ahead and stamped some of these leaves. Now these leaves are kind of empty, and I might want a little bit of shading in there. Let me grab, sorry, I'm looking for my blending pen. Where did I put it? Where did I put it? There's a blender that comes with the alcohol markers, but there's also blenders for just any blender. Like I think I keep mine with my watercolor pencils. Blending pen, Stampin' Up sells them. Sometimes you can take a blending pen and go over your fresher ink. This one I stamped too far ahead of time. And if you go over your ink, it'll smear your ink, if that makes any sense at all. And sometimes that works. Let me see. I like to pick up a little ink from my ink pad if it won't blend the way I want it to. And you can see that it'll add some color. So do what you want. You could use a blending brush, a sponge dauber, and you could add some color to your leaves. And it's subtle, but it's still better than just white. So cool. All right, so let's see. I want some flowers, and I know these flowers are big. They don't belong on this. I get it. This is like a hollyhock. I could go through and just make it into a hollyhock. But I like these bold, I like these really bold flowers. And so I'm going to kind of arrange them. And I want to use some of the smaller ones too. So let's see how this goes. And I really love, of course, using some leaves. Look at that. That's so neat. Where am I going to put my butterfly? All right, so I'm just laying it out. I have a few flowers. I have a butterfly. Awesome. That's really nice. I like it just like that. And so I am going to start gluing. Got a frog in my throat today. We are getting wind here like you just can't believe. It is crazy. This house, I keep hearing big clunks on the roof. It's like another storm day. Why? We're in a high risk hail storm area today. And I'm so tired of these storms. But I feel like every time I go live now, I'm telling you guys about our weather. I'm like the weather forecaster person or something. But it is crazy. It's been a crazy spring already. I really like this. I feel like it needs a dimensional, just something on the back to pop it up just a little tiny bit. I thought I could get through without using dimensionals today, but here I am. And I think I want another one down here. I hope you guys like this. I think this card is really, I'm just gonna put glue on the butterfly body. It's the only place. And then when I put the butterfly on, the wings will be loose. See that? So the butterfly body will be stuck down, but see how the wings look dimensional, and they'll stay that way. I love this card so much, and the only other thing I want to add are some gems, and I think I want to add some sparkly ones. So I'm just going to add a few here and there. pretty. Gosh, that's pretty. What do you think? Nice. Yeah. Okay. So really quick, I think I'm going to make one more. And let me grab my card base. I need to do my trim. Once you have made one of these, this goes fast. So I have my score and I want to cut 1 1/2 inches from my score line, right? So that gives me the top of my card. And then I basically need a bottom, which would be, you don't have to make it 1 1/2. You can make it nothing. I mean, it doesn't have to be, if you're using, you know, a pocket card out of a set or something as your connector, you know, make this smaller. It doesn't matter. And then look at that. Isn't that great? But I want to use my ray of sunshine. Do I want to use my ray of sunshine? I think I do. I might save that as a surprise for people who buy from me this month. I may make this card for people. Let's do, should we do an orange colored one, a peach colored one? I'm going to, so all I'm doing is I'm taking this piece that I had before and I'm going to cut I'm going to cut 2 strips at 1 1/4 each. And that way I can put those, you know, on the top and the bottom. And you could make this so that there are no white borders. I mean, I like the white border around each set. That's why I do it this way. There's no rule. Like if you want the entire top to be covered, just cover it. Wow, I just love this. Now, I think instead of putting something on the inside, I want to use my ink and just blend a little bit. And I want it to be soft. I don't want it to be crazy. So maybe I'll use, I'm going to put a little bit in here. My ink needs to be re-inked. That's one thing. Wow, really needs to be. Let me try one color deeper and see if I get a little bit better coverage. Ah, there we go. Okay. So I'm just blending some ink on the inside. And then what I like to do on the inside for my message whenever I do this is I can put this on the inside like this. Underneath, it'll be hidden by the front, and then I can write my message on there later. And then I think I am going to put just a tiny bit of ink on here too. I don't want to go too dark with it, but okay. Ta-da. Look at me getting my mojo going. I'm telling you, I've had low energy this week. Like, ugh. I haven't been able to, I don't know, get my act together. All right, here's this. I'm going to put on the bottom. And let's get this bottom piece ready. And again, I want it off to the side so that I have room for all the flowers and butterflies that I want on here. And then I'm gonna put adhesive at the top. I'm gonna line it up here at the bottom and press this part down. Make sure my edges are nice and smooth. I love it. And you can see I have different colors of flowers this time. I also have this larger butterfly. Very tempting. So whenever I am choosing colors, see, I pulled this one out too, thinking I could, this is that like ombre 6x6 paper. And I thought, oh, I could put that on the inside. But whenever I'm trying to match, like I want my butterfly to coordinate with this paper, I'm going to take the paper and I'm going to put it up against my guide and decide if I'm going to make a butterfly to go with this set. I'm holding it up to my oranges. And I really do think that the regular orange is probably the best match. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the best match for a real butterfly has more of the brown tones, right? I'm gonna do this one the same way. It's a bigger butterfly, okay? But I'm basically just gonna flick that dark color. I thought it was hilarious when one of the during that Stampin' Up thing, they were talking about one of the question answer session questions was like, why do we have so many florals? We're ready for some more unique stamps and florals. And somebody actually said that to the VP of sales. And her answer is basically flowers sell. People like them. They're never going to, ooh, I got a squeaker. They're never going to, you know, like reduce that necessarily because they sell really well. We know that though, because they're beautiful. We know that. It's just that after you own so many, you start looking for other things. That's why I always try to show a variety. I have a tendency to buy these weird, unique items, and but what actually I sell is flowers and butterflies and rainbows and yeah. I got my teeth cleaned last week. That reminds me of that sound. You know, that weird sound in your mouth? Yikes. I'm going to put a little bit more dark on here just because I can. And I like how that looks. So I have been craving donuts this week too. This is a sign that my energy level is low, is when I start eating junk food. It's like I crave junk food. And I'm like, okay, I need to get out there and do stuff. Look how pretty that is. I think this needs a shimmer pen too. I think I might shimmer it up. Anyway, I might talk my husband into going with me to get a donut today. I'm like, I need a donut. I need it. I don't know why I need it. But I feel like all week long I've been thinking about them. So, yeah. Look how pretty that is. Oh my gosh. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm trying to decide how I want to arrange these. Do I want the flowers at the top and the butterfly at the bottom like the other one for balance, or do I want to put this way this time? I think I'm going to do it this way. All right, let's get this put together so that you guys can get on with your day. Boy, is it crazy. I have a friend coming over. I'm excited. Maybe she can help me get my mojo back. I need that. I definitely need that. So. I don't want very much of that showing. There we go. Here we are with our butterfly. I'm just putting glue on the body. I could put another, like a stem. Hold on a minute. Where's my scissors? I'm just gonna chop this in half. I don't want the whole thing. I just want a little poking out. Get that butterfly in place. And I'll put the butterfly down. Oh, yeah. Nice. And with the wings hanging over, look at how beautiful that is. Okay, that is my card. That is what I'm doing today. So I hope you guys have a really good day, and send me any questions or anything that you have. I feel like I need to get back to chatting about crafty stuff, because obviously it helps me with my mojo. I'm not sure I like how that gem looks, but I'll put it down here. All right. Ta-da! I love these cards. They're just so pretty. And, you know, 45 minutes to make a card. It would have taken less time had I been not chit-chatting so much. But anyway, quick cards. And then, of course, on the inside, I can put this down with a message, or use one of these for my message. I love that idea a lot. Let me see. So you guys, I would like to see if you guys make any of these cards that I show. Gosh, I'd love to see them. It's really fun to see what other people's take on things is. It's, you know, everybody has their own ideas, and it's awesome to see. I'm just going to put that right there, and that way look at that on the inside. Pretty. Ta-da. Gorgeous, gorgeous. All right, that's what I have. Have a lovely weekend. Have a wonderful Easter, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.